Hey Taurus, it's Romy here. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. This is your March 2024 soul story. If you've got sun, rising or moon in the sign, you might find that some of these insights resonate for you and just help you to navigate your way through this next few weeks. So we're going to open up with the energy of the Three of Wands, and everything is about perspective, right? And you know, life is such a paradox. We have these polarities. It's like, in order to heal, we have to experience like such immense depths of pain sometimes, you know. In order to find peace, we have to kind of go through the chaos. And so there's something about the way that you're almost viewing your life and what's unfolding in March, and you're able to kind of see these opposites, you know. So it's especially helpful if you're coming up against like really challenging circumstances and you're understanding, you know, that in what they are offering you and what the kind of potential upside is, you know, it's almost worth it. And so the Three of Wands, you know, when we look at the length of her hair here, it seems to me that there's something that you have been waiting for some time. And you might find yourself in a set of circumstances right now that, you know, for one reason or another can continue to create that sense of resistance or frustration or urgency to get moving, to get going. And what we would invite you to do is to kind of really take a moment and step back and say, okay, what is the complete opposite of the energy that I'm feeling right now? Because that is where I'm heading if I allow, if I kind of can take the acceptance of this experience and what it's showing me and release some of the force or the kind of restriction. And you know, then you get this kind of huge upside. Now the Three of Wands for me always invites an energy of courage, and courage can feel like those big, bold, brave moves that we make, but can also at times sort of strip us back to this deep sense of vulnerability. One way or another, you know, the universe is saying that when we bring courage to the table, it can be life-changing in terms of the conditions that are altered. And we are given this opportunity to become. And the Three of Wands tells me that there's something about this energy in March that you're leveraging because you're about to step into the shoes, you know, that are going to show you who you're becoming and what's possible and the potential of something. And I honestly feel like that's quite exciting. So, you know, we're making our way in the first week of the month. And we're going to enjoy Mercury coming into Aries, and it does kind of give us on the 9th like this sense of direction and purposefulness and how we're communicating what we're saying to ourselves and how we're sharing that message with the world. Now on the same day we do have quite a challenging aspect with Mars squaring Uranus. It's a little bit erratic and it can kind of spur us into action, but at the same time it can create a little bit of tension and chaos. I do want to say to you though, on the whole, March is actually providing us far more positive aspects. You know, we're free of retrograde energy. And, you know, apart from this, and of course the looming full moon lunar eclipse coming in on the 25th, you know, we have a lot of harmonious kind of rendezvous planetary wise happening. And you've got the Four of Swords coming in there. And I think it's offering you some respite. You know, it's giving you a chance to kind of just say, you know what, as I'm waiting, perhaps, as I'm nurturing and cultivating this shift in perspective, this new story for myself, I'm actually going to take some time, yeah, to kind of just allow some of these things to line up. And I honestly feel like you're going to see better results and more progress the less you sort of try to interfere with something, which doesn't mean like not taking any action, far from it. It just means it's much more inspired action so that you're not kind of wasting energy or burning out with energy. And keep that in mind across kind of all areas of your life through the course of this month, right? The new moon in Pisces is going to come in on the 10th at 20 degrees. And, you know, we're working with all of this beautiful 11th house energy for you. So as you start to leverage your network, the resources, the support that you already have in place, rather than kind of looking at what, you know, doesn't exist and trying to kind of grapple and, you know, scrap around to find it, you're going to find that there's much more able opportunities and experiences that are helping you to feel like there's solutions here, and there's things that are going to actually be helpful and beneficial. Not everything you face is a problem to be solved, right? Sometimes you just need to sit with the feeling, the energy, and it will show itself soon enough what it's trying to reveal to you. Your Nine of Wands suggests, along with your Four of Swords, there is a bit of depletion or tiredness coming in some aspect of your life. Just pay attention to that, because you're going to need to be on sort of good form moving forward. And so we want to address kind of the root cause or the origin source of what is coming in or affecting you in this way. Particularly, what was felt around that Virgo full moon. So there would have been something physical kind of highlighted perhaps around that time for you toward the end of February, and through the month of March you're now having an opportunity to kind of really deal with that. At the same time, Nine of Wands tells me we've got to persevere and push through with something. And it's important to be reminded that sometimes we want to go back to what's comfortable, and then we stop and we realize that it was never comfortable to begin with. And I think it's a kind of breakthrough moment when you have that type of conversation with yourself. You get to that sort of, this is too hard, or it's not the right time, or I can't really make this work. It's just easier to kind of put this on hold and to go back to how things were or to what I was doing. But there are going to be many instances for many of you that those sort of circumstances weren't ideal, which is the very reason that you were seeking or searching for something new, something different. And March is a month to remember that, okay? But perhaps how you're coming to terms with it and sort of what needs to shift or change to enable that to happen is like the big reveal that's going to kind of show itself through this month, right? So we're going to come into Aries energy on the 19th, and of course we will welcome in the equinox. Equinox this month probably being a more fortuitous time to work on your rituals rather than that full moon lunar eclipse. It feels to me that we also have around that equinox, Ten of Swords, that feeling of like this has got to go, right? So remember, it's a kind of rebalancing in that seasonal alignment. And you're in 12th house energy with Aries season as well, right? So something around the new moon on the 10th that sort of sparks an interest or an idea for you. And in order to kind of make it work or make it happen, you come to terms with the fact that, this has to go or this has to give. She looks very pressured, especially in the crown chakra here. And, you may be experiencing that pressure as headaches or just that sense of kind of intensity around that particular energy center during equinox specifically. When you are having that really honest, radical conversation with yourself, and even though you kind of recognize the amount of growth and how far you've come, when we're really clear that something is still awry or amiss or just kind of way like out of sync in terms of where we want it to be, where we feel it ought to be, then there's that truth that sort of lands for us of what it's going to take. And I do kind of see you grappling a little bit with that, but at the same time sort of, there's a quiet sense of acceptance that also comes in that says this is a closing chapter. And really, in order to kind of facilitate everything that I want and what I see coming in on the horizon, then, I can't continue in this vein. So, you are for a moment kind of sitting in that space of, can't I almost, and maybe even there's a little bit of indulgence that comes with that. That's okay, right? To be like, well, why should I have to make the choice, or why do I have to go through this, or why have these things happened to me in this way, when it's been so easy for somebody else. And yet at the same time, there's a sort of spark of something that says, what's it going to feel like when I just shut the door or I close the door on this? So it's a really kind of pivotal time through that mid sort of time in March, and it's perfectly preparing you for what these eclipse energies are going to be delivering, because we know they come in and just kind of wildly shift the the landscape and the trajectory, you know. It's like turning the light on and all of a sudden all the furniture in the room has moved, and we'll look outside the window and it's a completely different view. And so this sort of fated intervention that comes about, and you know, with the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra, there's a specific focus in regards to our relationships. And so for some of you, it may be that feeling like this is too much hard work, it's asking too much of me, something needs to shift and change. Equinox helps to clear that energy, and then what the full moon reveals for you almost then doesn't come as a huge surprise. It's almost a sense of validation, I think, that arises. And that's also going to be super supportive in helping you to come to terms with how you want certain relationships to work for you moving forward over the coming weeks and months in 2024. Because it's like, if you don't then take a stand or set an intention or start to show up as the person that you want to be, and to be mirroring and sort of receiving back that type of an energy, then there's a danger that we just keep perpetuating that specific storyline. And I think you've got more to do. You know, there's just like all these opportunities that are sort of surfacing in different areas of your life, and it may just be that you've been consistently drained with one focus or one person or one relationship, you know, or multiple relationships that are just, you know, repeatedly showing you the same type of experience. So there's a break point coming, and it's not like an overnight change. Remember, we're working with these eclipses right through to like 2025, but you know, I definitely think this lunar eclipse has something really important to reveal to you, and it is going to help you shut a door, close a door in regards to something. Now, be aware, you know, the goddess energy Pallas Athena, helping us with our strategy, is going retrograde in Sagittarius. So what does that mean? Well, there's a sense that we want to, at this time, kind of look before we leap. And we want to rethink a big plan. Now, something's already in motion here with the Eight of Wands, and important conversations are taking place. By the way, you are lifting off from the experience of having to let go, or something coming to that natural conclusion, no matter how painful or challenging or intense it may feel. So there's a lightness coming in with March. You know, we've got light as a feather, the umbrella's lifting her up. So I really love this energy. You just have to have the courage and confidence to be able to seize that and see where it takes you. Yeah, there might be an urgency to start to move in a certain direction, but there might be different ways to approach it. I think this time, if you can stop and reflect on the experiences that you have, the wisdom and the growth that you've been through, then it's going to be much clearer to you what the right path is. But as I said, there might be something that you need to rethink by way of a specific plan that you have in place. Not to kind of scrap it and start over, far from it, because the energy is already in motion, but to just ensure that you're directing it so that that wind doesn't take you and kind of carry you off in the air currents to somewhere that, you know, hadn't been fully anticipated, because you just haven't sort of used and harnessed that desire and that reevaluation of now what is important. Because I think there's a sense, Taurus, for you of like you huge shifting priorities in March. And you might even find it difficult to kind of come to terms with what that also means for you. Like, you know, you want to change the priorities, or it's become really clear where they have to change. And yet, are you quite willing to face like what that means and what's going to be involved in regards to that? King of Pentacles showing up here. I like the anchoring energy so that we don't kind of disappear, you know, too high here. But through Pisces season, that kind of etheric nature of how we receive messages also tells me that there's a lot of divine intervention. That feather falling, there might be a very specific symbolic feather falling for you that is a way to receive a message directly, a communication directly from a loved one or one of your guides this month, just coming in at the absolute right time. But the King of Pentacles talks about a sense of feeling more stable, and what I would say is that March is a month that's testing our stability, and there are new chapters of relationships that are being explored. But you know, that lunar eclipse is going to want to put some finality towards something. To what degree can you bend with the breeze? Can you be adaptable, and can you open your mind and your heart? Sometimes the King of Pentacles can be a little, you know, rigid. and a little bit immovable and somewhat stubborn in his ability to be able to kind of explore or to look at the nuances of things. And so Pisces energy will help you. We've got Venus in the sign from the 11th, so that's definitely going to be supportive. But I think the more that we can kind of allow ourselves the opportunity to kind of hold space for what could be at the same time as having our intention. This is where I said at the beginning of the reading that, you know, perspective is everything for you through the course of this month. And, you know, through the experience, you're going to have to comfort yourself. And, you know, probably with the words that you so lovingly tend to comfort others with, you know, you're going to need a lot of self-nurturing and soul-soothing so that as you come up against some of the more bumpy, erratic energies of this transitionary time, you're able to kind of hold space and see yourself as still infinitely worthy, regardless of kind of where you find yourself on the roadmap to where you want to be. Now, of course, March is going to give you a little bit of a spring in your step, and it's certainly sort of motivating you in regards to a specific direction, beginning of a new astrological year, you know, preparing for your upcoming solar returns. And so there's a sense of sort of wanting to get things in order as well, and feeling like you want to kind of strip things back and simplify things because you're aware like there's a lot sort of riding on this, is sort of what I want to say. I also think that you do have support that can come in quite a significant way to alleviate, is what I would say, you know, perhaps certain circumstances, either financial or restrictions around time, or physically in regards to something. I just feel like the benevolence of that King of Pentacles and the conversations that ensue can also be very beneficial for things that are being a little bit tricky and putting you under pressure, and causing that sense of like maybe, you know, a little bit of anxiety or stress, if I'm honest. So something being resolved, again, that's because you're able to leverage or harness your network or specific even technologies or apps or something that just kind of helps facilitate a clearer path or a way through something. And, you know, that has a direct result on your overall well-being. So remember, we're tested in our stability through the course of this month, but you're also like rising in energy, and there's a lighter feeling as you take a step back to kind of review things. I think there's a lot of good news coming in, but it might be dressed up as sort of feeling like it's not that great. So, you know, you might be looking for a specific response or an answer or some insight, and when it comes, you might just going to be like, oh, is that it? Okay, I was kind of looking for a bit more. But you haven't quite seen sort of everything that sits behind it. So don't judge too quickly, is what I want to say, if that's the kind of experience that you have. Remember, these eclipses are going to be bringing in all sorts of surprising energies that, you know, may land on the day, but may well come in over the coming weeks. But there's something that I feel you look at and you think, could do better, or I was expecting more, and actually there is more to come. So don't kind of shut the door or have a response that's too negative, because I feel like you could then you know, kind of restrict the additional sort of flow of energy that's on its way towards you in regards to this. Okay. Our last three cards, Taurus, we cover in the extended version of my reading. If you're new to the channel, we talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you. So I hope you'll join me if you want to explore a little bit more of what March has to offer. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify this reading and see the direction of some of the messages we're going to be looking at for you. So Seven of Cups, we have Nine of Cups. So you can find the link in the comment and description box for the extended reading, yeah, over on my website, romywiser.com. So all the decks I use are always listed below as well. Two of Swords, Eight of Cups, okay, Nine of Wands, Queen of Wands, Nine of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Okay, look at this, Ten of Swords, Ace of Cups, Knight of Cups, interesting. Okay, you might want to check out my Sacred Soul support this month. I've got a guided journey in evolving your relationships. And you can find this along with all my other sacred titles, ways to work with me, and things that I create to help you on your spiritual journey over on romywiser.com. So please do check it out. We've got the Hierophant coming in and the Chariot. The Hierophant, of course, your card, Taurus, along with the King of Pentacles. So I'm liking this showing up for you in the conversation along with the Chariot. Be mindful of like who you share information with. Somebody is speaking out of turn. Yeah, someone's going to share something that I don't think you were ready for them to share. So just be mindful of that through this month of March, Taurus, if there's information or news that you don't want to get out either ever or just yet. Okay, we're going to have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my own deck. So let's take a look. We've got Casting Out Constellations. This is the way, this is the work. We've got the Rainbow Dragon and the Wild Rose. And we have Third Eye Energy, Awakened Vision. Crown energy coming in. Interesting with that Ten of Swords and all that pressure on the crown chakra. Certainly some activations and downloads going on. You'll feel that so powerfully around the equinox. Take the time to really tune in and see what's coming through for you at that point. Full moon, soulful surrender. And we've got Rise and Love as well. Beautiful. Okay, finally let's have a look at a oracle card for Taurus for the month of March. Seventh chakra, Archangel Uriel. Okay, beautiful. Gonna leave it there. Look forward to continuing this conversation with you if you're joining me for the extended. Otherwise, have a beautiful month of March. Take good care. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.